I'm Robert Williams from MetalRules.com, and joining me tonight in Austin, Texas is Tom G. Warrior of Triptykon and Ravn of Oslo, Norway's Black Metal Warriors 1349. How you guys doing today?
Good, thank you.
Very good.
So, Ravn, last time you were in town, we talked about you working with Tom before. You said that he jumped on stage with you during the Gorgoroth tour and performed the Usurper, and then you went on to return the favor when you toured with Celtic Frost here in the States. Tell me about how you guys originally met and became friends.
He contacted our record label after we had released our first album, and he talked a bit to Frost on the phone, and then he came out to our show in Switzerland when we played the Ravn tour with Gorgoroth, and we met in person there, and we found to share some of the same humor and interests, and it just evolved from there on.
Obviously, things are a little different than the last time the two of you toured together. Tom, you now have Triptykon, you're blowing fans' minds with that. Ravn, you're steadily capitalizing on the momentum from the last couple tours. Having had the benefit of touring together before, what can you say about this trip? You enjoying catching up with each other and playing these concerts?
Well, we catch up with each other pretty often anyway, and we had also plenty of time to do that when we were in studio together. So
yeah, the friendship between the two bands extends also to private life, and especially between me and Ravn. But for me personally, this tour has been much more satisfying than the tour we did together with 1349 when I was in Celtic Frost. And that's of course because my own band is far more steady on a personal level. I think the atmosphere is much better on this tour. The spirit of cooperation is much more noticeable. I've enjoyed this tour much more. And it's also good to tour on an equal status. They 1349 are a fantastic band, and it's very good to share the headliner status with them.
So Tom, you've been approached before from seminal members of the Norwegian black metal, as demonstrated on your Shatter EP, with the guest vocal appearance by Nocturnal Culto. Tell me, what was it about 1349 that you found most exciting?
I found absolutely fascinating that there's a band who adheres to the ideals of black metal the way I understand them. That it wasn't a band that bent towards commercial pressure or the latest rage of what black metal should be or where it should go. That there was a band that was not afraid to play black metal the way it should actually be played, in my modest opinion. Also, I liked the aggression that came across on their early albums. Which I don't mean to say the new ones or not, but when I first got to hear them, I was absolutely blown away. When I first heard the first track I heard, I was blown away by the diversity and the aggression contained in a mere one track. It sounded like an entire album in one track, and that just completely blew my mind.
And you worked with 1349, co-mixing last year's Revelations of the Black Flame and contributing guitar and bass on the Pink Floyd cover, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. Ravn, I know you're a big Pink Floyd fan. What was it like working in the studio with Tom on that?
it was actually it happened more on a spontaneous basis, because this was something that we talked about for a long time back, and it was an idea I proposed originally for a split EP within 1349 and Celtic Frost, and Celtic Frost fell apart. So did of course the idea also. But when I first had him in the studio, I brought the idea back up, and we just went into the studio and kind of saw what happened, and the song evolved throughout the process, and the result you can hear on the album.
Well, like you said, I've been on stage with 1349 twice. Ravn's been on stage with Celtic Frost. We've worked in the studio together. I think there might be more in the future. We enjoy an extremely vivid chemistry between us, and I can see that to me personally, we've only scratched the surface. I think there might be more in the future. There's so many things that we discuss that I can easily see that being translated into music and lyrics that we do together.
Tell me about producing the latest 1349 record, Demon Noir. What was it like for you as an artist to be on the other side of the control panel? Did you find that exciting?
Well, of course it's exciting. I mean, it's not just like a job. Working with friends and working with somebody whose music you're actually a fan of is a privilege. It's not something you do every day. And I have to correct you. I wasn't the producer. I was at most a co-producer.
Okay.
As I said in other interviews, this band knows exactly where they go. I think they just wanted an outside opinion, but they're perfectly capable of producing their own albums. I don't want to take too much credit away, just to be correct. But it was a fantastic experience. I mean, you're talking about going into the studio with a band that consists of fantastic musicians. Everybody in this band is a very extraordinary character and musician.
Ravn, I know you're a longtime supporter and fan of Celtic Frost, and last time you were in town, you had arguably the most well-worn-out Hellhammer shirt I've ever seen. I'd be interested to get your thoughts on what Tom's doing now in Triptykon.
Well, I think he's bringing the legacy with him further. You know, it's still the same man behind it, and it sounds like Celtic Frost would have sounded if they had been still a working band. And as far as I know, most of the material as well was written while Celtic Frost was intended to be rehearsed with Celtic Frost. And the reason for him to forming Triptykon is, of course, to maintain his style and his musical work. So it was a necessary step for him to create this band in order to get his creative fundament settled, and in order to move forward as a musician, and I reckon also as a human being.
Okay, now vice versa. Tom, what would you say would be some of your favorite 1349 compositions?
I have to say, first and foremost, that I respect their decision to be more experimental on some of their recent work. I have immense respect for that. We are part of a scene that, if you're really honest, is an extremely conservative scene. And even though all the musicians pose in pictures like they're barbarians and Vikings and with studs and leather and everything, in reality, they're all cowards, because hardly any band nowadays dares to go a different way. All the albums that I hear, or most of the albums I hear, they sound like every other album. And even when you listen to the first song of the album, you already know what the last song sounds like. People are just afraid to go out on a limb. To me, art has always been about being daring, risking your career, putting something at stake for the sake of finding out something new. Not just scratching on the surface or copying what you've done or copying what somebody else has done. And 1349 on their recent work have shown that they're not afraid to actually put their career at stake and do something new and try what else you can do with black metal within their sound. And that commands immense respect. To me personally, far more than the music I like from them before. That to me, courage is much more important than power.
Are there any plans for the two of you to collaborate at some point outside of your respective bands in 1349 and Triptykon? Any plans to ever work in the studio on something, a new project?
Of course, the time and place and the project feels right. Of course.
I agree. I think we're open for anything. Our past collaborations have been extremely satisfying, and I'm not dead yet, so yeah, I'm open for anything, absolutely.